Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So as promised, this is what I think update number 3, and this will be the last update before we do the final build guide. And basically, we're currently sitting at, with everything up, about 6.6 million overlapping DPS. Ignore this, it's irrelevant because of my defense stats. I've got about 170 armor packed, 1,000 armor packed into this. And yeah, overall, anyone who's watched the stream, and I'll put up a link to last night's stream that I did for nearly 6 hours. Basically, it just gets stronger as it goes down into Delve, and I'll explain the changes that I made, because there are a few changes to this build now. So let's get into it, and let's talk about gearing. Okay, so gearing changes that have been made since the past video. Still the same replica Dream Feather, same Emperor's Vigilance, same helm, haven't even changed any of that. I now have a brass dome. That's a pretty bigums in the scope of this build. It provides a huge amount of armor and means that I can respec some nodes in the tree and or change out the Watcher's Eye that I had. Still replicas at Series Foible. I'm still trying to find my Pride All's Uprising, and that'll let me run Pride with no reservation. Same rings, no change. Same gloves. The gloves were great, except now I've got Gain 1 Rage on hit, which I think I had in video number 2, update number 2. But if you haven't got it, get it. I've also got maim chance on hit as well, which is a little bit of added damage. Magnate, if you can get a corrupted Magnate with something that buffs up Determination Aura, then that's the preference. And boots, pretty much the same as last time. Flasking, I pretty much switch between 3 different flasks depending on use case. So I have a Quartz Flask, Quicksilver, and an Amethyst Flask depending on bossing, mapping, and Delve, because you need Quartz and Delve. That's basically it for gearing. No other real gearing changes outside of that. So if you've watched the last video and you're following this series, then just watch the last video. It's pretty much no real changes aside from the brass dome. Okay, and same applies for skill setups. I haven't changed any of the skill setups outside of now I have Anomalous Impale, Awaken Brutality, and Awaken Melee Physical Damage. And I got these for level 5 for like 1.1, 1.2 div each. And Anomalous Impale just lets you almost cap out your Impale without having to waste any other nodes on the tree or anything like that. So if we have a look, 90% Impale. It's not 100%, but it's still perfect, and it lets me run Defiance Banner without being fettered by, hey, maybe I should run Dread Banner instead. So that's basically it. Everything else is pretty much exactly the same as what it was previously. Okay, skill tree setups. Now, this is where I've made some changes. So number 1, I've got Brass Dome, so I've dropped the 30% reduced crit damage from crit strikes out. Don't need it anymore. Now, I did make some adjustments. I got rid of my Fortify nodes. And sorry, I should say for gem setups, I did switch out my increased critical strike damage on my chest for Fortify, and I'll explain why now. So I ditched out Rampant because there was a better way to get better defense. So one of the problems that we had is we couldn't sustain the energy shield, even though we get a huge amount off the shield and then it scales up. So the way to do this is drop Determination here. Sorry, not Determination. Drop Rampant here, drop Fortify nodes here. And then reallocate some of those nodes to an Inexorable. And also on top of that, that also meant removing Unflinching and getting Untiring. This increases our regeneration rate, and when we get hit, we actually start to mitigate damage on physical damage, and that's really good for the Jug and Delve. So we substitute Unflinching for Inexorable. So then we get a huge buff to armor while we're stationary, and we also basically just generate endurance charges when we're hit with a 25% chance, which is pretty sufficient. Sorry, I don't need to make that 1 second. And then basically I came up here and then moved up and took Divine Shield. And the Divine Shield means cannot recover energy shield above armor, which isn't a problem because we've got 170,000 armor. And then 3% of physical damage prevented from hits is regenerated as energy shield per second. So what that does is it allows you to synonymously regenerate your energy shield, which then further mitigates damage off enemies to 1491, making your effective hit pool, what, 4,000, 5,000? It actually works, unless it's chaos damage and then that comes directly out of the pool. And the other change that I made is I ditched the Watcher's Eye, and I got Defy Pain into the build. So these Defy Pain, Forbidden Flesh, and Forbidden Flame Jewels, if you're on a budget, are 15 chaos each. Literally, the whole change was 15 chaos. So I did get my best in socket here as well, but Yeah, so for 30 Chaos, I pretty much get 10 Defiance stacks, which increases my leech, and now allows me to take Defiance, which is here, 10 Defiance. So I get 10 Defiance, and then that throttles me up to a total of 182,000 armor, which for an armor stacker is a huge amount of armor for this type of armor stacker. And that's basically, if you watch my stream, where my defenses have come from and where the changes have been made. So this POB will be in the description, and that's basically all the explanation I have for it. And the comment I get a lot is, what, what Pantheon am I running? Depends on the boss I'm trying to kill. So generally in Delve, I run Soul Lunaris and always run Soul of Aberith. If I'm doing like Uber Elder, I'll do Soul Arakali because of the dot reduction and chaos damage over time reduction. And like any other boss, it might be Soul of Solaris. You don't really need Soul of the Brine King because it's pretty much useless on the Jug. The Jug is stun immune anyway when you take Unstoppable on the Ascendancy tree. So that's basically it for this build. There's nothing else to really tell. Those are all the changes so far. There's like 2 more changes I need to make. I need to get to Blitz Charge stacking, and I also need to move into Pride with an All's Uprising. Outside of that, that will push my build up to about 14.5 million DPS at this stage. And that's just pure endgame at that point. Like, whatever you add to it's going to be like a million change here and a million change there. If you're leveling up to 97, I would recommend getting Born to Fight. That'll get you over a clean 7 million. And yeah, anyway, until next time, don't forget to like and sub to the video, and the channel, sorry. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in probably another week's time when this is completely min-maxed. And yeah, have a good one.